I have been waiting for this for a very long time. I'm obsessed with ancient history, especially before the written word. I'm fascinated as to what happened in humanity before we were able to write down our history. Well, this is one of the most iconic landmarks in the entire world, Stonehenge. It's a very old landmark. Well, how old is it really? And who built them? And why? And how did it get here? And why is it here? There's so many questions. Today we're going to answer a few of those questions as we walk around Stonehenge. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist, and welcome to Stonehenge. So how old is Stonehenge? Well, for that we have to talk about the stones. Right over here we see the perfect alignment of the solstice, both the midwinter sunset and the midsummer sunrise, right through those stones. And this is the huge sarsen stone. Right here we see the alignment, and the alignment actually leads to an even more impressive earthwork, which was a processional avenue that extends almost 2 miles long. Now this was filled with farmland and places to herd animals. But there's another mysterious stone right down there. We have what's called the slaughter stone. Now we can't see it perfectly from this perspective, but when rain falls on that stone, it turns into a bloody red. Oh, why? Well, many theories are abound. Many people think, originally, a lot of the people thought that this structure was made by the Druids, who were an ancient religious order of the Celts. The Celts came over here a few hundred years ago before the ancient Romans. But then they found out that no, it was actually much, much older. The ancient Druids, though, did use this for religious purposes, and according to speculation, they used it for ritual sacrifice. And they committed so much ritual sacrifice on that stone that the blood seeped into the stone itself, and every time it rains, the blood comes out. That's more myth, because the actual reason it turns into a bloody red is a combination of the mineral content of the stone itself and the algae that has formed in it, and the combination with rain. And then that's why it turns into a bloody red. So maybe there was ritual sacrifice, but that's not the reason why the slaughter stone turns into a bloody red. Let me show you more of the landscape all around here. So right over here we see one of the main roads, and we see a herd of sheep right down there. And let's backtrack. There's these big ravens. I like how ravens are around here. That's amazing. And it's impressive how they built this processional avenue. Just really breathtaking. If it wasn't the Druids, then who was it? So Stonehenge is actually much bigger than just the stones themselves. I already mentioned the processional avenue, but we actually see more mounds all around here, surrounding the stones themselves, and pits. So through many studies, they found out that this actually dates way, way further back. If you see my video on Newgrange in Ireland, well, that was also a very old structure. This one's about 700 years built after Newgrange, making it up to 5,000 years old. That means it's older than the Great Pyramids themselves. These were ancient Neolithic people. They were farmers who lived in thatch-roofed homes. Well, just a mile away, they actually found the foundations of a settlement that they have called Durrington Walls. This settlement was of the Neolithic people, and this is how they speculate that the houses look like the very people who built Stonehenge 5,000 years ago. Let's walk inside to one of these homes. Made out of thatched roof. Imagine taking a sleep here. This is your life. You're a farmer, maybe a herder, of cattle, sheep, and you end up going and building Stonehenge on the days you're not farming or herding or gathering fruits and berries. Wow, this is so interesting to see how they might have lived. Of course, we don't know exactly because there's no remaining depictions of it. Let's go to another one. So right here would have been the fireplace right in the center. And over here, just already without fire, feels just a few degrees warmer. So you could just imagine how cozy it might have been with the fire. It's great to see this visualized, so it can give you a little bit of perspective of how people lived. So now, I'm going to go back to Stonehenge. How did they build this? Well, they apparently didn't have the wheel. At least there was no indication that they did. They didn't have gigantic animals of burden. No huge elephants like in the eastern parts of the world or in Africa. And also, they didn't have huge metal tools. The maximum they might have had access to was copper and tin, which was nowhere near strong enough to carve these stones. So how did they do it? No one knows for sure. But somehow they managed to bring in stones from miles away in rough terrain and stack them up on each other. Such an impressive feat. Let's get a little bit closer to the stones. So over here, it's about a 30-minute walk to get to the center, but luckily there's a shuttle bus. And it's very easy to get here to Stonehenge by public transportation. What you have to do is actually take the railroad from London all the way to Salisbury, which is only an hour ride or so. It isn't that expensive. And then you end up taking a special shuttle bus that is called the Stonehenge Tour. Picks you up right at the railroad station and brings you right over here. It takes only 30 minutes. And then you end up taking a very short shuttle bus that's only 5 minutes from the center all the way here to the stones. And I'm so excited. Everything is very accessible. There are benches over here so you can sit down and rest. But if you do come, you're in England. So do remember to come very prepared for inclement weather at any moment's notice. So do wear your rain jackets and make sure you're very well covered by that rain jacket that doesn't stay wet, that dries easily. So buy yourself a very good rain jacket. So buy yourself good rain-proof boots, because here in England, things get muddy. And now we're getting closer to the stones. Oh, this is exciting. Wow. So wow, it's so impressive to be here. To think that this was in perfect alignment, it still is, with the sunrise and sunset at the solstice. Was it built as a timekeeping structure? Well, it certainly looks like it. To actually build something that perfectly aligns with the sunset and sunrise of the solstice, it seems pretty purposeful. And there is indication that other Neolithic groups, such as the ones in Newgrange, Ireland, also knew about the solstice and aligned their structures with it. Or was it also a religious ceremonial center? Maybe there was actual wood structure that covered up the entire thing. But nonetheless, here's where it's very impressive just to look at these huge stones. And it's impressive how they had them stacked up together, and they've been standing here for centuries upon centuries upon centuries, millennia. All right, let's get the other theories out of the way. Yes, a lot of people believe that these Neolithic farmers who lived in thatch roof homes had some help. Did they have some help from some ancient advanced civilization like Atlantis? Well, that's one theory. Or did they have help from aliens? They came from outer space. Well, that is another theory. Another theory is that this was actually built by an actual ancient civilization that was lost to history, and that the Neolithic people just made it their own. Or was this more elaborate? Was this a collaboration between the ancient Neolithic people and the aliens above? And did they build this as some sort of airport because there's some huge processional avenue? Well, of course, all those are very, very interesting theories. And I would say for fun, they're nice to look at. But in actuality, people always like gathering. And if you're a farmer working in beautiful fields like this, you would have a lot of downtime, actually. A lot of people don't realize that farming doesn't take your entire week. It's not like our modern work schedule that ends up taking 40, 50 hours a week or more. These guys had leisure time. Maybe they decided to build something that would be bigger than themselves. No one really knows for sure why did they build this, but I can tell you what, it is very impressive to look at these huge pile of rocks, because it goes to show that humanity is far older than we think. There's been people living on this earth having very similar problems to ours and very similar triumphs and trials that have been here for centuries. Now, there has been many supernatural reports as well. People have reported very bright lights. Others have reported very strange lightning storms that would specifically hit Stonehenge and nowhere else. And that people who would be hanging out here would disappear the next day and no one can find them. There's also positive experiences. Stonehenge for centuries was used by the ancient Celts as a place of healing as well. People still to this day think it's one of the major energy points of our world, aligning with the Isle of Avalon, the Glastonbury Tour, which is in Somerset. It's such an amazing feeling to be here because for a very long time I've been fascinated with finding out what more there is to human history, because I think there's so many stories yet untold. Maybe we'll find them here at some point within our own lifetimes. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanus. Keep being awesome, and always keep on exploring. From Stonehenge, have a great day.